Hey guys, what's up? This is B coming to you from G&A today. So I've got a little bit of a ZQI 556 ammo score video for you. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the receipt here, and then I'm going to tell you kind of what happened today. Kind of a crazy little thing. So this is March 7th, 2015, Saturday at 8:47. Scored my 7 boxes. They showed 25 in stock, but I only got 7. Cash is so tight here lately, and I hate to have to put stuff on credit, and I've done some of that lately, and I just have to reel it in. I just can't keep doing that. So anyways, got what I could basically buy with cash and with what else I could without having to put it on credit. But okay, so today is Saturday, March 7th, 2015. Me and my wife decided today we're going to load the kids up and head to the town that we go to where we do some shopping that we can't do here in our local town. And there's several Walmarts in this town that we go to. So I was kind of on several missions for these Walmarts that I was going to. Number one, there was one store that was showing CCI Mini Mag in stock, and it was showing limited availability on Brass Badger. So I went to that store and I flint scanned, and it showed that there was 3 in stock. And went over and talked to the to the clerk at Sporting Goods. She said that she'd got there at 1, which was about an hour before I got there. And she said she hadn't sold any 22. So I'm pretty sure those 3 boxes were still somewhere. Somebody was hiding them for themselves, but I just wasn't in the mood to fight for that today, so I just let that slide. So that was one thing I was looking for. The other thing I was looking for is those shot shell boxes I showed in a video earlier last week, I believe it was, that they had those shot shell boxes on clearance for $3.50. I went there and looked, and I guess they're not on clearance anymore because they're back up to the $6.97. So that got shot real quick because I was going to pick up several of those if they were still on clearance, and that's not the case anymore. So I was done with that. So then the other main mission I was on was to find some of this ZQI 556. So the first 2 Walmarts that I went to, Flint scanned at the first one. They showed they had 2 boxes in stock. There wasn't any on the shelf, so it wasn't worth fighting over figuring out where those 2 were at. Just not worth it. The next one, Flint scanned, it showed there was 1 in stock at that Walmart. Again, it wasn't on the shelf, so I wasn't going to fight with that, so I just didn't worry about those too much. So we did most of our shopping. I decided, I'm just going to run over to that other Walmart real quick and just go check and see what they have. And, of course, I didn't really expect to find any there. I knew there wasn't any 22 there. I knew those shot shell boxes weren't on clearance, so it was just kind of a blind run. I really wasn't expecting anything to happen because this last Walmart that I went to is the Walmart where I had my ammo fail that I made a video about several months ago. And where at that one particular store, I've seen stuff in stock there for several days, and I know those people, especially at this store where I got this from. I know they hide stuff and they keep back stuff for themselves. I didn't expect to find anything, and so I didn't take any in-store video. I wish I would have, but so I went there and flint scanned it and showed there was 25 in stock of these ZQI 556, and I figured really one of 2 things was happening. Number one, I figured those guys probably just had it hidden in the back and weren't going to bring it out, and I wasn't going to be able to get anything done with that. Or number 2, it had come in on that truck that night, and they definitely weren't going to bring it out if it had come in on the truck that night. They've told me that store policy. We can't bring stuff out until the next morning. So really that's what I kind of assumed was going to happen, is that it was going to be one of those 2 things. Well, after I flint scanned that, I walked over to the sporting good counter and looked in the case, in the glass, and they were sitting right there. And it was one of those kind of cases where it's back behind the counter where you can't get right up to it. But I could still see it. I could see some of these boxes right through the glass. There was one guy kind of standing down at the end of the counter, and there was the clerk right there behind the counter, and I said, well, I want some of that 556, and he looked at me and said, oh, well, we lost the keys to the case. And so I said, well, I want to get some of that. And he said, the keys are lost. I can't open that. And I said, well, I'm getting some of that ammo. And he said, dude, I don't have the keys. And I said, okay, whatever, call your manager. I want to talk to him. So the manager came over there, and whenever he came up, same thing. It was like, oh, we lost the keys. And I said, it's right there. I want some of this ammo. And he started saying the same thing. Sorry, we don't have the keys. I said, I'm not leaving this store till I get some of that ammo. It's right there. We can all see it. I'm getting some of that ammo before I leave. So he got on his little lapel mic, and he called over another manager. I guess it was a higher up manager. So that manager comes over, kind of the same thing. I said, there's the ammo right there. Why can't we get it? I mean, and he said, well, the keys are lost. Well, there was two sides to this ammo case, and they had the keys where they could open up the glass to the other side, and it was a straight shot through there. There wasn't any barricades. They could reach across there a little ways and be able to drag this ammo over. And that's what I said. I said, why can't we just open up that other side and reach over and pull it across? And so the manager asks the clerk that's standing there, he said, can you open up the other side? And he said, yeah. He said, well, we'll have to figure out some way, some kind of rod or something. And there was a broom sitting right there. I was like, well, we could just use that broom. Just stick that broom in there and drag it across. And he said, well, I don't think that'll work. But he said, I got something in the back. I'll go get it, and we'll get it. So anyways, he goes in the back and he gets kind of a rod or something, kind of has a little hook on it, and he comes back up there, and well, I guess to make the rest of this short, anyways, he finally gets all these 7 boxes brought out for me, but it was ridiculous, and I don't know if it's because they were just making an excuse, they didn't want to sell this stuff, and they said they lost the keys. I don't know, but at least the third guy that I talked to, the manager that I talked to, was willing to do whatever it took to get it, which, I mean, it really wasn't that big of a deal. The first guy I talked to, the first clerk that I talked to, should have figured out some way to do that. I mean, it wasn't rocket science. Just reach across and pull it over. But they were not going to do that for me until we finally got that third guy over there, the manager. And so he checked me out, and I looked on the receipt, and it said the manager's name right at the top, and I said, so are you this guy? And he said, no, I'm just kind of a manager in training right now. And I said, man, I appreciate you. You went above and beyond the call of duty to do this, but the first guy should have done that. That should have been his job. I mean, it was right there. We could all see it. He could get to it. It was going to take a little bit of work, but whatever. Got my 7 boxes of this ZQI. March 7th, 2015 at 8:47. Now, while I'm at it, I've been intending to make another video about the other 223 556 that I've scored, and I haven't done that, so I'm just going to throw it all in here real quick. And of course, what I have scored is not a drop in the bucket compared to what some of you guys have gotten. Okay, so this is some stuff that I scored all the way back on February 24th, 2015. Got me 12 boxes here. There's 14 here. But I scored 2 of these. I think it was the next day that I bought these, and I don't know where the receipt is for that, but got those back on the 24th. I bought 1 box of the 150 round American Eagle, and I lost the receipt to this. I even bought it before I did that other stuff on the 24th, but got 1 box of that. And then also I picked up some of this 223, this Wolf Gold, which is brass cased Wolf stuff, and I bought this from Sportsman's Guide. And this was $82 total for 260 rounds, and the shipping was free. So that was like 31.5 cents per round for brass cased, and that's total 31.5 cents total for this. So that was pretty good deal on that. So, anyways, wanted to tell you about that little score that I got tonight. Again, I wished I'd have had in-store video on that. I guess that's the way it always goes. The best stories you can tell like that, you can never get those on video. But anyways, thanks for watching today.